Well, from Missouri 2 years ago to Minnesota less than 2 months ago, our part of the country has been no stranger to deadly officer-involved shootings and violent demonstrations in the aftermath. Now, Milwaukee is the scene of that, and so far it's a peaceful night of protest after this weekend's riots injured several officers. It all comes after a black officer shot and killed a black man who was believed to have had a gun. The names of those involved in a crash that left a pedestrian in critical condition have now been released. We'll have that update coming right up. First, though, tonight, many of us are watching under very threatening skies. All right, the breaking weather situation there. Thank you, Brandon. This would be a good time to make sure you have our weather app downloaded and ready to go. And it's still several months away, but we now know who will not be performing at the next Super Bowl. Adele says she won't be saying hello to the NFL. She is turning down an offer to sing at the halftime show. She says that is because the event is not about music and that she can't dance like Beyonce. Beyonce can't sing like her either.
That's true.
Super Bowl 51 is going to be held in Houston on February 5th, featuring, of course, the Chicago Bears taking on the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
That's my prediction anyway.
That's his prediction.
I do need to correct one thing you said earlier.
Oh,
here we
no
go.
corrections
The
needed.
Chicago Bears in the Super Bowl is incorrect.
Do you have some
I don't
inside
have
information?
I can say who's not going to be in the
Right.
Super Bowl. I can't really say who's going to be there, but I know maybe one or two teams that are not going to be there.
I think we have a rivalry going on. You're going to have to be the judge on this one.
More people on my side. Most of America agrees with me on this one.
I think you agree with the Broncos being there.
I'm on your
He's
side.
on his
Yep,
side.
thought so. And welcome back. Before we go tonight, we do want to let you know about a sad story that we are following. A young boy has lost his life after an apparently accidental shooting over the weekend. It happened at a shooting range in Garner on Sunday. We'll have more on this at 10, but so far we do know that a boy has died in that shooting. Now we'll send it back to Katie. 73-year-old Mary Knowlton was killed during a Citizens Police Academy class when a shoot, don't shoot police demonstration went wrong. Somehow live ammunition wound up in a weapon. Knowlton, who had volunteered to take part, was shot and killed. Her husband of 55 years said today he believes there was no ill intent, but it was a series of errors that led to her death. We are taking you back to the courtroom tonight. A North Iowa man on trial for attempted murder watched as the man accusing him of sexual abuse took the stand in court today. Iowa's appeals court is rejecting an argument from a convicted North Iowa sex offender. 75-year-old John Lusk was sentenced in 2015 to 50 years in prison for abusing 2 young relatives in Charles City. He appealed, saying there wasn't enough evidence to convict and that the expert witness led the jury to believe the victim's testimony. Welcome back as we analyze the state of the presidential race. Yet another very eventful week politically with another email scandal coming out for Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party. Yet Donald Trump has also made a few incendiary statements yet again. I mean, we've said that almost every Sunday that we've done this show. But then you say that you're finding some vulnerability for Hillary Clinton, in particular due to some recent news events, especially in Milwaukee. And I think a lot of Trump supporters were looking forward to this stage of the campaign because they said, hey, look at how he hit all of the other Republicans. When is he going to start hitting Hillary Clinton this way? And although he does, occasionally he makes far bigger headlines for the things that he says, like the Second Amendment people this past week, for example. So is that something that he'll be able to turn around at this late stage?
True ending tonight, the Iowa State Fair is underway, and again this election year, the corn poll is a popular stop.
It's like a straw poll, except it, of course, uses corn. Fairgoers stop to drop a kernel in either candidate's jar, and that signifies who they would like to vote for in November. This year, though, it's very evident neither candidate is very popular because when it comes to third-party candidate conversation, people mentioned Libertarian Gary Johnson. Most often, many were even frustrated they couldn't put a kernel in his jar.
Thrown away, I guess they had all the numbers except the Powerball number. So then that's $1 million. Then they had the Power Play option to double that.
Doubles it up, yeah, and then they put it in a sock drawer or something and forgot all about it. Well, it's an open field now, but on this hot day, just imagine this being the scene of an inviting swimming pool. Albert Lea leaders are looking to build a splash pad at this location across the street from Fountain Lake. A fundraiser has been underway since March with the goal of raising $150,000. So far, they're at about $70,000. When finished, the splash pad would have jets and sprinklers for kids to play in. A special session no longer an option in Minnesota. Governor Mark Dayton and legislative leaders announced today they are too far apart on key issues, so they really have no reason to call everyone back to St. Paul. A $260 million tax relief bill and package of public construction projects were at the top of the to-do list ever since the legislature adjourned in May. But disagreement about this, building a light rail train to the southwestern Minneapolis suburbs, was just too much to overcome. Thanks, Katie. Now it's time to take another look at the top stories of the day in our top 5 at 5. We are learning more about that tragic death in North Iowa from over the weekend. Authorities say 10-year-old Cade Hartwig of Clear Lake died after he was accidentally shot by a pellet gun Sunday. He was with family members at a shooting range in Garner. A visitation is set for Friday, and his funeral will be Saturday. Both will be at St. Patrick's in Clear Lake. The Olmsted County Attorney's Office has announced that 69-year-old Miles Keller will be charged with reckless driving causing death and driving with an excess alcohol content. Investigators say Keller had 3 beers within an hour before getting behind the wheel in May when he hit and killed 5-year-old Lucas Wharton outside the boy's home in Byron. Today in the Mark Rederath trial, prosecutors changed their focus from the sexual abuse allegations to trying to prove the attempted murder charge. Prosecutors say Rederath planned to poison his victim with castor beans. Today, 2 witnesses took the stand and testified that Rederath did want the victim dead, even asked them to help commit the murder. Police say an 84-year-old woman is in critical condition after being hit by a car this morning in Albert Lea. They say the driver was blinded by the sun and did not see the woman in the road. Even though pedestrians do have the right-of-way, police say they have to be cautious when crossing the road. Democratic presidential nominee Tim Kaine made a stop in Cedar Rapids today on the campus of Kirkwood Community College, stumping for Hillary Clinton. Since the national conventions in July, both presidential nominees and both vice presidential nominees have made stops in the Hawkeye State. Now here's Brandon with a last look at the forecast. A woman in southern Minnesota is facing charges after officers say she used her vehicle to damage somebody's home. Police say 36-year-old Erin Daniels was jealous after seeing her ex-fiance with another woman, wound up backing into the woman's home. Nobody was hurt in the incident, but a window was broken and a wall was damaged. Daniels is charged with assault, damage of property, and driving while revoked. One of the trending hashtags on Twitter today has been "Summer's over when." One of the top answers, when it's time to buy school supplies. But parents know paying that bill can be a big struggle. How we are hoping to help coming up.
Baseball.
All right.
USA
Is baseball an Olympic sport?
No, it will be
Yeah.
in 2020. USA is the Cubs. Everybody else is the Twins.
Yeah.
If you want to do it in football, USA is the Vikings. Everybody else is the Bears.
I didn't think you would be able to just give a compliment and walk away.
No,
Exactly.
yeah, that doesn't,
Too easy.
that doesn't
turn
sound like
that one around.
something I would do.
No,
Not a
it
bad
doesn't.
comparison.
I did like the first half of that analogy, though.